Mountain of Fire.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ ti ń ṣe pastor torí mo gbọ́ pé sọ pé pastor lórúkọ yín ẹ pé pastor lórúkọ yín nísìn.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni sà, mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú Dr. Dike Olukoya láti Old Yaba Road number 60 Old Yaba Road. Ibẹ̀ ni mo ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lọ sí church wọn. Mo wà ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga nígbà náà. So mi ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú wọn ni ká tó wá lọ sí 13 Ọlásìnbọ̀ Oníkẹ́ Ìwàyà.
Ọdún wo lẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ ìjọ MFM?
Mo darapọ̀ mọ́ MFM bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní 1989. Ọdún mẹ́ta sígbà tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ lèmi join wọn.
It's around last week or so, I saw this interview done in Yoruba language, and I tried to contact the anchor of that program, the person, I think the owner of the Yoruba channel as well, where the interview was made, because while he was interviewing the man and the second person and the third person, I could detect that they could speak English, even if it is pidgin English. I know they could, and the man on the set that you are seeing actually said he went to the university. So I tried to contact Yoruba Gidi TV if there will be an access for me to interview these persons in English. Now he gave me some reasons, as in it has to do with their security, and I suggested that we could do it online, not really necessary that we will be confined in the same place. So somehow he declined. Now, why was I interested in doing that? Now, I really wanted to ask also the man some questions, because now if you go to the internet, mostly on YouTube, if you search MFM pastors or MFM Olukoya versus his pastors, you will see a lot of persons. Some of them are quite old. Now, like the story of the man that you are seeing here, the thing did not happen recently. Now, but there is an allegation that borders on high-handedness, wickedness, and even intention to kill them by the general overseer of Mountain of Fire, Mountain of Fire and Miracles Church of Ministries. Now, a second thought would want you to ask a question. Why would Olukoya want to kill these men? If you come to, if it is competition, they are not in competition. So why would a man of God, a preacher of the gospel, who is supposed to take life sacrosanct and sacred, wants to kill, allegedly, his pastor, his worker, and one of the three also happened not to be even a member of Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministry. He came into the case later. I've listened to them, every one of them spoke in Yoruba, and I understood what they were saying. But then, it is actually dangerous to conclude the matter with, one person's voice. Now, I didn't want to get involved in this thing because it's either you see people who are staunch members and followers of Pastor Dike Olukoya. And meanwhile, I'm not a member of Mountain of Fire, but I don't have anything against Mountain of Fire. I don't have anything against the pastor. I also, respect the man a lot. So, but then if you get involved in this kind of a thing, you will see people who seem they are waiting for you to speak before they descend on you, even though that we can't avoid such people. So somehow, I only wanted to get involved if I had gotten the men to speak also in English. And there are so many gray areas that would have been ironed out, but since I'm not part of the thing, maybe in the nearest future, maybe I'll have the opportunity to still talk to them to find out. But meanwhile, these are allegations and counter allegations. And why I'm doing this now is that somebody sent me a video of another high member of Mountain of Fire Church, who happened to be a backup singer to the MFM General Overseer. His name is Ayotunde Richard. You see, the video was the video of his house being invaded by policemen allegedly sent by Dr. Dike Olukoya. Now listen to him. He started making live, video on Facebook. Now it was about 49 minutes long, so I didn't watch to the end. But the thing was that they came to arrest him, and it was alleged that the policeman came from Lagos while himself was resident in Ogun State. So now that was a video that well, when I started to, okay, let me search other things. And then I also found out where MFM lawyer made some clarifications. And if you put 1 plus 1 together, you will be wise to stay in the middle in this matter. Now, because whenever an allegation is made against a person that the intention of what the person is doing or did was as a result of money, then you have to be very careful, because human can do anything for money. And as much as I'm not standing for anybody, we're going to listen to them, fairly. Now, I will just summarize the story of the men who spoke in Yoruba. Now, Pastor Femi happened to be a former member of MFM, Mountain of Fire Miracles, Mountain of Fire and Miracles Church. Now, there was a time that he alleged that he was accused of planning to rob Mountain of Fire and possibly kill the general overseer of the church. And then eventually he was cornered and was arrested, and he said he had no idea, he had no hand in it. Now, the other person, Henry, who happened not to be a member of the church, but was also co-opted in the case, claimed that he didn't know Pastor Femi as in knowing him closely, but he knew him as a member of the streets where he lived, and that one of the days he went out during the scarcity of petrol and he went to buy fuel, and as he was returning with his bike, he chose to go through the shortcut to his house. And while he was going, he was told that policemen were standing on the streets, that they were raiding people, and he was asked to go back. He was like that he couldn't go back because he was already nearer his house. So on getting closer to the streets, he saw a policeman that told him to go back, and the policeman was not putting on clothes. And so he insisted that he would pass through there because that was his street. So the policeman now used force on him, and in the process slapped him. And he also returned the slap immediately, having not known that the man was a policeman. So that was how he was arrested. He claimed he was arrested and didn't even know that along the line he had been implicated in a robbery case. Now, it's a long story, but then he claimed that he met some persons who happened to be from his village, and once they spoke, they promised they were going to release him if he cooperated with them. Along the line of the story, they found out that he happens to be an architectural engineer, that he could sketch building map. Now, because one of the allegations that was leveled against them by MFM was that in the attempt, we'll get to that place, in the attempt to steal the first fruit offering that was donated in that year, that they already had a sketch that they submitted to those that will steal the money, how they will arrive and how they would, go out. So this Henry claimed that the police, in having interaction with him, asked him, he now told them as they were interacting, they got to know that he could sketch and draw, a building plan or even a street. So they asked him, it's not true. If you draw it, let's see. And they told him to draw. So he drew. He claimed he was not a member of Mountain of Fire Church, but then he could draw that area very well according to him. So he drew and gave it to them. And they promised him to give him job when they release him, that whenever they have building projects, they will call him. And then eventually, now, the last condition for him to be released was that he said he was told to testify against somebody in the cell, that if he testified that he overheard the man in the cell discussing with another person on how to rob Mountain of Fire and also kill the general overseer of MFM. Now, that was the only condition that he would meet, and they would just release him. So he stayed there, and then he said, well, that he accepted, but he needed to see the person who he was going to lie against. And lo and behold, they introduced the person to him. He was a person he knew, in the person of Pastor Femi Jimo. And it was like, no, that he could not lie against that man because he knew him. So that was when his own problem started. And so all of them stayed behind bars. According to them, there was a time that they wanted to kill them overnight, but somebody came and they told them what to do. That's a very long story. I'm just summarizing it. So now, eventually, after 9 years, they were released. The question I'm asking here is this, and we're going to listen to that. But before my question, let us briefly, now, bear in your mind what I have just told you, the story I've told you. Now, I want us to listen to the lawyer of MFM. Now, recently, they came out and they did some kind of press release to cover that. And eventually, we'll get to the case of Ayotunde Richard. They are all, covered, both the allegation and the accusation and the debunking of the whole thing. I will be seeing you, but let us listen to this from the lawyer and the former CSO of MFM.
You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription and God bless you. Shalom.
As some of you must have been aware of the narratives by one Mr. Femi Jim and Mr. Caleb Oloruntele over 2 weeks now, that they were framed up by this church, that is MFM, and then they were locked up in jail for 9 years for an offense they never committed. That emotion-laden story is false, is mischievous, is misleading. He has been a serial offender in the ministry. The first letter, which he made reference to that he worked under this Pastor Odose, is dated 14th October 2002, and this is the letter. The letter reads, Brother James Oluwafemi Jimo, Mountain of Fire Miracle Ministry, Warri, dear beloved, relocation to Lagos. Calvary greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. You are hereby requested to proceed immediately to Lagos for purpose of undergoing reorientation course. There, at the successful completion of your course, you may be redeployed in accordance with the discretion of the appropriate authorities. You are also by this letter requested to come to the church premises on Monday, the 14th October 2002 for necessary financial allowance for your upkeep and to enable you make the trip. I read another letter again while he was also redeployed for another offense committed while at Ibadan. And the letter is dated 19th of August 2003 after the Warri incident has been looked into, it was posted out again. Pastor Femi Jimo, I am directed to inform you that you have been redeployed from Gbagi Zone to the regional headquarters with immediate effect. You are to report to the regional overseer for further briefings. Concurrently, you are to pack out of the room you are presently using and also hand over the keys and any other documents of the church with you within 2 weeks of the above dates. That's just to give about 2 of the incidences that show the character of Mr. Femi Jimo while he was in the service of MFM. If not forgiveness and magnanimity, what other reason or factor will make an organization to keep giving its offending staff another chance after every offense committed? It is actually absurd to imagine that a church as big as MFM will go so low to frame up 2 of its ministers just because of a claim which is even false. They were never locked up for 9 years. They were granted bail, but nobody went to secure their bail. So they choose to remain in custody.
Those who attended the press briefing were some of the witnesses during the court and the chief security officer who was alleged to have visited the house of...
While in the service of the church, he approached all these guys because they are members of OPC and wanted them to help secure armed guns and all of that for purpose of robbing first fruit offering. You know, first fruit offering in the church environment used to be like your first salary for the year. And we were planning for the one of 2008, which was February, and they reported the matter to, the officers of the police that relate with them, that they do neighborhood security together, and that is where the sting operation started, and they were rounded up.
I was not the one who arrested him. It's the police that arrested him. And he said he saw Michael CSO in Ogbomoso, in Abali's house. I know Ogbomoso is in Nigeria, but Michael Lawalegbalamansi, I've never been to Ogbomoso.
Now, bear in mind also that this is not the only thing that is going on. There was a case of MFM and Maureen Badejo, which went to court in the UK. Eventually Maureen lost out on that case, and she was given a heavy fine to pay. Some said it's £50,000, others say it's £100,000, and an appeal was submitted and was struck out by the court in the UK. Now, I happen also to see another woman who brought a case, and that is the person that, we're going to look at the case in this same video, but as it has to do with Richard Ayotunde. Now, Ashekun, there were so many dirty stories that have been peddled against the Mountain of Fire man, and I heard that first from Maureen. I saw some write-up then against, to that effect that the Mountain of Fire General Overseer has a place where they call corridor deliverance, and that corridor deliverance, that a lot of things happens to women, who cannot speak for themselves, women who are vulnerable, that they are being defiled and molested and violated there. Now, the thing is that, having known what I know now, it is futile for me to sit here and tell you that nobody can do that. But on the benefit of hindsight, since this is an allegation, until it is proven otherwise, because the woman claimed she had evidence, a lot of evidence that could implicate Dr. D.K. Olukoya, that will show that he did those things, that he molested those women. Now, before we go to the video I want you to watch, I'd like you to understand that, see, even your own church here, if your church case may not be on the social media, depending on the size of your church, there is no church that does not have problem. Some members of the church, when they are disappointed, and of course, if you are dealing with human will always offend you. And so there are some that when they are offended, they don't live quietly. They want to drag that organization down. There are some that are even the offenders, but they turn around to play the card of being the victim, so that they could, draw the public sympathy. Now, I'm not saying that any of these men have lied, but there is a challenge that has been thrown to at least the 3 men who recently came out, who said they were locked up for 9 years. And according to the story, keeping the story open, was that they were not actually locked up for 9 years. The thing was that they stayed they stayed in jail for 9 years because they could not fulfill the conditions for their release, for their bail. And that happens a lot. I've seen, there is a brother who runs a prison ministry. We have seen some persons who have stayed in prison because of 2,000 naira, because of 3,000 naira. They stayed for months. Some stayed there for years because of an amount that is as low as 10,000 naira. So now, if the court had set them free, but they could not fulfill the conditions for their bail, now that is quite a different thing. Now, you know why sometimes I just want to stay away from this kind of a thing, is that while you're speaking to humans who have sense, who could reason, now everybody is so emotional. As long as it has to do with pastor, as long as it has to do with church, we must kill them, we must accuse them. And the other set of strange people are those who will be like, don't talk about our pastor. How do you know him? He's a man of God. He can never do something like that. So emotional. Now, nobody is accusing pastor, and nobody is saying that these men are lying. At least I'm not saying so. What I am saying is that, you see, we must be very, very careful. So don't come here to defend your pastor, your church. If you're doing so, remember that if the men indeed were victimized, God knows everything. And don't come here to defend the people because a pastor's name is involved and the church is involved. And anything and everything that can bring down the ministry must be hauled at them. Well, the truth is that any pastor that has been wrongly accuse them from now till tomorrow. Their ministries will not close. Even those that are serving the interests of Satan, how many of them that we know, how many of them have been closed? So don't come here to defend the pastor. Don't come here to defend the alleged victims. Be in the middle. That is the point I'm trying to make here. Now, these things are there and persons have been named. Now, if anybody is having problem with the claims, at least from the lawyer, those things are subject to clarifications. Anybody can visit those places and clarify. The claims also made by Femi, Badamosi, and Henry, and even Richard, Now, those things are also there for anybody to visit and clarify. Now, that brings me to the issue of Richard. Now, Richard said his house was invaded. Like I said, that didn't happen. I think that was about 3 months ago or thereabout, that this issue of his house being invaded by police. Now, when I was watching that, I was like, how is it like this? How come the general overseer of MFM is addicted to using police to harass people? Now, if you just want to take it on the surface of what the Richard, presented in the video, now you want to say, but these MFM people, sir, they are very wicked and terrible. Meanwhile, I'm not saying they are not wicked, but I'm not saying they are wicked. Now, people that have had experience with them say they are wicked. I've not had anything with them, and I'm talking based on what Richard and Co has brought on the table, and also based on what MFM through their lawyer has also brought to the table. So we need to put them side by side and find out which side is weightier on the path of truth, or which one is actually very consistent with the truth. You see, before we jump the gun, all right, let me just play the little part of what Richard was saying. As his house was allegedly invaded by police, allegedly that was sent by the pastor of Mountain of Fire, the general overseer of the Mountain of Fire.
And my children are afraid. And my children are, sir. Where's your wife? She's on her way from work. Yes, sir. Now I want you to just maintain the position. I've spoken with the policemen, and the policemen have refused to answer my questions. I've asked them. ASP Isaac is the man that said Isaac, who said he's from special squad of the Commissioner of Police Lagos State. I asked him a simple question. Yes, sir. Do you have an arrest warrant? An arrest warrant. You are coming to his house. They don't have, sir. And do you have an invitation? He said I should not answer. I should not ask him any question. I'll try calling Commissioner of Police. Yes, sir. So Commissioner of Police, I'm calling you. I am Additional Golano, former chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Ikeja branch. You are here with us about a month ago, and a half months ago, when you had a parley with us because of this kind of incident of police brutality under your command. And we've told these people, if you are, say, from the office of the Commissioner of Police Lagos State, what are you doing at Ogun State? Because my client is there now at Eagle Estate, behind Prayer City. That's clearly Ogun State. Yes, sir. And now they are threatening to break down the door to arrest and yes, sir. They should go ahead and break down the door if they know that they are acting within the law. Mm-hmm. Have they come to arrest a violent criminal who's committing armed robbery or murder? What have they come to? We have a case in court. There's a case in court on Wednesday against the person who has sent them. Yes, sir. That you have a case against Olukoya of the MFM. Yes. And trustees and all the other people there. There are ongoing cases, one against us and one by us against the fundamental rights. It's coming up on Wednesday. Yes, sir. They are trying to preempt the court. They want to tamper with the administration of justice. That's what they are doing. Everybody see what Olukoya is doing. Oh, he has sent police to my house again. I don't know what I'm owing Olukoya. He has sent policemen to come and ambush my house again. Just hold on, just listen to me. Yes, sir. Let them stay there. Yes, sir. If they want to break the door, they should break the door. Okay, sir. I will try and get in contact with Commissioner of Police, Lagos State. Okay, sir. And he has not picked up, but I will call him again. Okay, sir. I will repeat this broadcast again and again for Nigerians to know the kind of police that we have in this country. To their knowledge, they know there's a case in court. Mm-hmm. The case against this man, they had him they have abandoned for months. We've been calling the registrar of that court since the past 3-4 weeks. Where is this case assigned to? She will refuse to answer. I sent her a message today. All these people have told the lady I'm writing a petition against you. Their collaboration.
Yes, sir.
Is a citizen of Nigeria using their powers and their position. Yes.
He calls himself a pastor.
Just hold on. Let's see what they will do.
Yes, sir.
Tell them to break down that door.
They should break my door and pick me up. How will police come to my house without an invitation, without arrest warrant? And they just want to pick me like a bully on Mama Oniboli's where?
Was 12 a.m.
Yes, sir.
In the night, 12:30 a.m. About
Olukoya, you are a coward. You are a coward, and you are not a man of God anywhere. You are not a man of God anywhere. We have a case in court. You should show up on Wednesday if truly God has called you to come and defend your God. Hello, ma. Yes, ma. Ẹ bá mi share, I'm on Facebook live. Ọ̀nà máa jálẹ̀kùn wọn mú warrant wá, kò sí invitation kankan. Wọ́n fẹ́ wá kì mí mọ́lẹ̀ láti Ìkẹjà. Ìkẹjà wá sógun ṣe tó fẹ́ wá arrest. Ìbàfò lolúkọ̀yà lò last time náà kò work. Ó tún padà lọ Ìkẹjà. Mo ń sọ lọ́ọ̀yà ti ní kí n wá, èmi àti lọ́ọ̀yà ti wà ní Facebook live. Ẹ bá mi share ẹ̀ mà. Ẹ bá mi share ẹ̀.
Okay, mo ti ń ṣà.
If truly he is a man of God, he should go and call on his God. Tọ́lọ́run bá pè lóòótọ́, Olúkọ̀yà should go and call on his God. This is shameful. N má sọ̀rọ̀, yes ma, n má sọ̀rọ̀. Yes ma. Bẹ́ẹ̀ kàn lò, this is wrong.
Now take this to heart. As I now bring to you the reaction, the complete reaction, the first one done by the lawyer as he explained what really happened. Who was the one that arrested Richard? What happened? What transpired before this whole arrest? And how does it connect with the general overseer of the Mountain of Fire? Let us listen to the lawyer of MFM.
Hello, good morning from Nigeria. My name is David Nadejuan. I'm doing this video from Lagos, Nigeria. I am the lawyer to Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries as the legal advisor. I'm also the lawyer to the general overseer of MFM, Dr. Daniel Olukoya. Okay, let me first and foremost apologize to our pastors and all those who've been sending me messages requesting that for the past 2 weeks, asking, oh, they be hearing this, they be hearing that. What do I have to say? Because I think about last 2 weeks there about Pastor Ayotunde Richard's wife make a post making some allegation, oh, the husband was arrested and is the Jew of the former church where they left, and so those pastors were concerned and I have not responded. And then some bloggers were trending it and it's becoming a thing of concern. I've been receiving a series of calls. Typically, I'm the type of professional as a lawyer. I don't do media to respond to things. We'll study and analyze and we'll take appropriate action when we think and where we feel or we deem is necessary to do that. So the Joe has not been around, and the reason why I have to do this is that my attention has just been called to another Instagram video by the same Ayotunde Richard overnight, where in trying to corroborate the lies of his wife, he also alleged a number of things, shouting Daniel Olukoya and MFM. Even though the wife were actively making reference to the Olukoya, as being the one behind the arrest. Now the husband has come out to establish that, mentioning that the IGP should clamp down on Olukoya who arrested him and all of that. So I'm here to now respond, to those requests before now, because now Ayotunde Richard has made the video, beyond reasonable doubt that they are referring to Daniel Olukoya as the one behind his arrest, and so it is not true. I'm here to tell you guys there is nothing that can be far from truth than that. All lies, 100% lies. And let me first say that Ayotunde Richard is a very close person to me. We have very, very close personal relationship. He ministered during my wedding reception in 2018. I've supported him in his gospel outing ministry. At least his 2 albums that I know have, supported, patronized him in volumes, and that he knows. We've been friends. He comes to my house, and so the person of Ayotunde Richard is also somebody that was loved, in the MFM family, and there is no doubt to say that even the GO seriously love him.
And then, so for me to come out and do this video is to let those who are also like, oh, for IoT Trisha to come and say this, somebody who was the lead backup singer for the Jew and all of that, or it must mean something. And so some people are calling me a lawyer, what is it true and everything. All you just need to listen to or to ask yourself is that, what did Jesus Christ do wrong to Judas, for Judas, who was one of the 12, to collect 30 shekels and get him killed? So for you to think that there must be something, so there is nothing other than the fact that Ayotunde Richard has actually submitted himself as an agent. When I mean agent, I'm not mean the agent from the spiritual point of view, like physically hired person that some bloggers, who had been paid, who had been sponsored to run down the ministry of MFM and of Dr. Olukoya, they see him as a veritable tool that they can use, because now he had problem with the ministry and is ready to supply them whatever they need. That is just a fact. Now let me give you the background of how things got to this place briefly. Ayotunde Richard went with some ministers to Abuja concert, and he wasn't the most senior. After the concert, honorarium was given to them, and he pushed himself forward as if he's a leader, and took the honorarium. And I think the leader there scolded him that you shouldn't do that. You are not the most senior. You are not even the leader. You should respect hierarchy. He got offended and reacted and embarrassed that pastor. Matter got back to Lagos. Committee was set up among themselves, the gospel minister, that his own is becoming too much, that they need to see how that. So a series of how it's been, when you are so talented, which is granted, when you feel that nobody can sing like you, the same spirit that Lucifer had before God has to dethrone him. And so when that spirit starts coming upon you, there is nobody like you, and you now don't have regard and respect to your senior, and you can, and so they feel like there should be some way to tame, the the attitude that has been displaying and all of that. So it's just, for me, nothing but pride. And the discipline was meted out that he should go on suspension by his own group that he belonged to. But he felt that no, I can't do that. And he resigned. And so, having resigned, he found his way to those who are running MFM ministry down. If you recall, there was one charlatan in UK who for like 2-3 years kept chunking out all manner of lies, trying to, piece together, those who have some misgivings against the church, and said he was doing video to run the local down. When she was doing all of those things, I advised, let's allow this lady say all her lies. We don't need to respond. Some members were responding, but for me as a lawyer, we will take appropriate action. Now, when we start taking action or defamation against her, she couldn't establish the veracity of any of those lies. The video she did consistently for about 2-3 years, she could not establish one of them to be true before the UK court. This was somebody that whenever she does videos, she will say, oh, it's only in Nigeria you can misbehave. Come to UK. Here, the system works very well. The judiciary are going to do the right thing. Right there in the UK judiciary, she was slammed with thousands and thousands of pounds for defaming Dr. Olukoya and MFM. And right now, she's struggling and begging that she cannot pay. She had made an attempt to appeal. The appeal thrown away. In fact, the judge called the appeal as hopeless and baseless. That is how terrible. After years of lies that a lot of people had actually believed, unfortunately. So for us, I'm not that type. And so when the woman in UK has now been perpetually restrained by the UK court, which she subjected herself to, because a case in Nigeria who also found out, wrongdoing and slammed 100 million naira. She saying it's only in Nigeria that they can do kangaroo, whatever. But right there in UK, where she was ably represented, she was slammed heavier because she couldn't establish any of those lies. So I think I need you guys to understand that. But we are not the media, we are church. We should preach the gospel and not to be running to media and be exchanging things. So the reason why, for me, I have not made any response to any of these things, I don't believe in that. But right now, the woman in UK has handed over a baiting to another one in America, one Funke Ashekun, who had for time now been doing a number of things to defame the Jew of MFM and the Bishop of MFM. She was someone who has also massively benefited, from the goodwill, and the favor of Dr. Olukoya, because she was given a platform, she was in youth church, she was in counseling session, and the husband, they all enjoy a number of things: free accommodation, massive salary, special one, more than even what the AGO was earning, travel on the to represent a number of things, cars, houses, families, school fees, all expense, even including money, some of which have not been accounted for. But when she had now found succor, for whatever reason, to be the one to take the baiting from the woman in UK. And of course, because there is money, somebody is bankrolling them. Some people somewhere who really, for whatever reason, wants to run down the ministry of MFM is actually sponsoring those missions. And so the Funke Asheku now has to recruit somebody from within the ministry, and that is why Otunde Richard was very, very available, the best tool they could use. So Otunde Richard, having resigned, decided to team up with Funke Asheku, and that is his choice. Where I came in and where I felt a bit bothered was when one sister Okpeyemi started doing on social media to be responding to Funke Asheku, and then started calling out Otunde Richard. Immediately, that was even when I got to know that Otunde Richard has left the ministry. Personally, I never knew. So I now find my investigation and I call Otunde Richard, what is going on? Say, the law, see me, we were so close, like I said, very close. He came to my house, we discussed what's going on. So he told me his own side of the story. I said, but this matter is simple now. No. If that is the case, because he painted the picture of being a victim, that the people in the praise team are beefing him, and that they are threatening him because of his star and of his whatever. I said, but if that's the case, it's not enough for you to be talking some of the things you are seeing on social media against the ministry. Don't you know that by talking against the ministry, it's like you are disrespecting all the investment and all the gold that the GO has done for you. You yourself, you confirm that you were from Bariga, you were nobody. You said you used to be smokers and everything until you came to the GO and he employed you. You were working in his office, you became his backup, and you said that you have traveled all over many countries to minister, and it was one that sponsored it. Your clothing, your wardrobe, your school fees for your children, your wife employment. This man did all of that. So why should you say because you have problem with one minister or some ministers in your group, then you want to run the ministry down? I advise him against him. Nonetheless, I would say somebody I still have flair for. Like, I like him. Like, I have to go to the Jew that no, we cannot afford to allow this people with whatever they have in their group to bring out Richard to this place. We need to get him back. That is me. I'm saying this now. And because he saw that is like I have that soft spot for him. I never in my life could imagine that he was actually going to use that to his own advantage. Apparently, as at that time when I was siding with him, meeting with the Jew, that how can we stop all the old discipline from the choir department against him, he was actively recording and downloading my intervention and everything, and he was sending it to Funke Asheku. I'll get to that. So it was not, in fact, when he told me that, the law, are you aware about the SFE invitation? Like, what is happening by SFE? He said somebody invited and I said, how could that be? He said it must be from MFM. All my enemies are from MFM. I said, can you be saying that? And he wants to know whether it's that the Jew. I said, how on earth do you expect me to know whether it's the Jew, and what will make you to report to SFU? What? I said, well, in any case, please don't ever go to SFU until a proper invitation is extended to you. In fact, get a lawyer. So I was even advising him, as at that time when he had even left the ministry, that I refused, because I was trying to see how I can rescue and salvage the situation. And I like, no, I can't be part of it that will bring police to this matter. It's still a church matter. All of those chats, my brother was busy recording and downloading them and send them to Funke Asheku, because Funke Asheku confronted me recently with those chats, send them to me, and I felt like, wow, what can be, what other definition can you give to a betrayer? As at last year, when this whole matter started, when I was actively mediating, took me 3 months, but I never knew how was actually making money from whatever he was doing for the Funke and those bloggers abroad. Because so far so good, they said he's been able to make close to about $30,000 to supply information and get people to talk on those blogger platforms found in his phone. How did the matter get to where it got to? So for those of you who, like me, used to see Otunde Richard as one calm, nice, loving gospel minister, you probably believe he couldn't do some things until you hear it or till you see it. there's no way I could imagine that Ayotunde Richard can be so toxic and be allowed to be used, the way and manner of what I found or what came to my revelation. First class as a lawyer. First of it is that when he left and Sister Okpe, reached out like, no, you don't have to be doing all of this thing. I think he called that on bluff. And Sister Okpe now got angry that we are close, but on this issue of you now siding with people who are running the ministry down because you don't want to wait and face your disciplinary action, I'm not going to be part of it. So they have that exchange. Everything got, out of control between two of them. Then that started to drag him too. So it was a personal issue between Ayotunde Richard and Sister Okoyemi Emmanuel that led to what it is. So then the next thing, he has to send voice notes to Sister Okoyemi Emmanuel wherein he threatened the life of the son of Sister Okoyemi Emmanuel. Now in that voice note, Ayotunde Richard said that, Okoyemi Emmanuel, I think and I know that the most precious thing, in fact the most valuable thing to your life is that your son. And then he started to issue curses and saying things that will happen to that son, a minor, in a voice note sent to that woman. And this is a woman who was barren for 10 years. And the reason why I actually took the matter personal on behalf of the ministry is that, according to him, that if not for God that used Dr. Olukoya to pray for her for those 10 years while she was waiting and keep reassuring her, praying for her, praying with her, and the husband reassuring her that such a man who had labored in place of love and prayer and to seek the face of God to open her womb, that she can never at any point want to be part of anyone that will run him down. That was where the woman took the matter personal and then have to go and call out that you are an ingrate, you shouldn't be doing this to somebody who has also done so much for you and your family. Then the next thing she got from Ayotunde was a voice note threatening the life of the son. That was where the woman got it like, no, we are still even doing dragging and calling, but now my son. And for him to even say that that son is your most valuable, your precious thing, and these are the things that will happen to that your son. When I listened to that voice note, I was afraid. I never listened to that voice note when I was siding with him, when I was trying to see how we can, placate everybody and reconcile. But the moment that voice note got to me, in fact, I was afraid. I just tactically withdrew. Even though as at that time, Ayotunde was not even showing any sign to pull back, not knowing that he was actually making a lot of money from those abroad, sending money. Funke Ashekun, who are effectively being bankrolled and sending. For you to be able to send $30,000 about to seek information and gather, intelligence of how people can come and run a ministry of MFM down. So it's a business for them. Now that's about that. So both the SFE invitation and the Alagbo invitation were the instances of Sister Okoyemi Emmanuel. She was the petitioner. There was not even any lawyer that wrote petition for him, because eventually I was at the Alagbo. So when the wife of Ayotunde came out about 2 weeks ago and started saying kiniko, and then the husband has now said the GO of MFM Olukoya, I left the church and everything, it's not true. Ayotunde was arrested because of threats to life of a minor, and the mother of the minor is a petitioner before the police. Please let this be very clear. Now, when they were investigating that, allegation, which of course his phone was confiscated because he used his phone to send out voice note, the police later now stumbled upon so many other conspiracy and careful plan and evil that they are already orchestrating against some other persons in their conversation between Ayotunde Richard, Funke Ashekun, some members of MFM and some people outside the country. They were mentioning Olukoya, the wife of Olukoya, the G of MFM. They even mentioned Pastor Kendi, one of the G of MFM. They mentioned Kumuyi, the G of Deeper Life. And the one that concerns Olukoya, in fact, Ayotunde, who has been a backup to such a person, minister, and who has benefited to that extent, got cars, got accommodation paid for, got your children's school fees paid for, and for whatever it is you feel this man has done wrong to you, in that exchange you were saying you are calling pedophile, you are telling Ashekun that I've thrown one. Oh, in fact the one I throw now is a serious bomb. In fact, very soon heart attack loading. That is, you are wishing the G of MFM to develop heart attack, and that one was responding, Olukoya will not be alive, will not live to see the end of the matter United States that the United States Church is having against her. Those were the words that he would develop blood pressure. This were Tunde Richard words in that conversation. Now, all those scary plan and what they were doing, you know, so it's not like the intention, the motive was established. You know, like, when are you going to do your video? And when you do that video, let me be there, put this one there, say this, say that. You know, you see that conspiracy carefully, the plot, you know, that they want to annoy him and run him, and they want to push him so that he would develop blood pressure. This is the business. These are the things police found on the phone of Adisha, and I was the one they reach out to. So it's also not true that the police, whether Ayole or anybody, send anything to Dr. Olukoya. Dr. Olukoya was not in the country all this while. So the police reach out to me as a lawyer to the church. Except I want to deny that I'm not the lawyer to MFM. They want to deny that I'm not the lawyer to Dr. Olukoya. And okay, we found this thing in the course of our investigation. Can we get across to the GO whether he has something to say? And you as a lawyer, what do you do? I said, you know what? Baba is not in the country now. Please, if I can actually have these facts or this evidence so that I'll be able to present to him whether he has something he has to say about it, because the Jew is somebody who does not even believe in hearsay or rumor. He likes, you know, he's a scientist, empirical fact. He likes to see it, you know. And the police obliged me. I got those things from police in Alagbon. As a lawyer, I was invited. So later, Tunde Richard come public to deny that he didn't see me at Alagbon. When I came to Alagbon, he thought I was the one that wrote the petition until they show him. I told him, I don't know why you are here. I'm not even part of it. So the woman that petitioned you is here in your presence. You say you are begging her, you have actually begged her, you have resolved, you don't know why the woman came back again. And I said, so please, I don't know your travel about this particular one now. I'm invited because they said they found something on your phone that is so grievous. Planning the GO, Olukoya should have heart attack, you develop blood pressure. How you confirmed that is the one you are referring to as pedophile, and you did that because you want him to develop blood pressure. And those are the things they want me to come and respond to. So when I asked him, is it true you said all those things? He said, yes. He confirmed to me that yes, he did it. He said they are banters. After all, people can talk anything against celebrity, and we used to talk against the president, Buhari, even Tinubu and everything. I said, but these are not about banter. These are careful orchestration of you want him dead. He should develop blood pressure. He should develop heart attack. You are intentionally saying things to annoy him, to wake him up. That is what you are doing. And your motive, you are even saying it. And the other people are hailing you. Those who are paying you. I almost wept. We have that conversation at Alagbon. And so I am the one, as a lawyer in my capacity, that got those information out of Alagbon. And I sent to the Jew that, well, these are the revelation. What do we do? What do you want? You just laugh. And then he called me back like, some of these things you sent to me, I find it difficult to believe. I say, well, it might be difficult to believe, but that is what it is. In fact, there is this one of them that is my daughter. How can this woman be part of this conspiracy to wish me dead? This is somebody who I took care of her, just like anybody that come around me. So I can't find. I said, but daddy, if I say it's difficult, well, what do you want to do that? Say, I think I should establish that from her. What do you think? And I say, yes. And that's the GO for you. The GO of MFM is somebody that will not act on hearsay. That you are going to report to the GO that, oh, sir, somebody did this. He will ask you to sit down. He will call for the person immediately and say, okay, Mr. Reporter, this is the person you just reported. Please repeat what you said again in his presence. That is the way he operates. And so it's the same attitude to now call that woman that, Mrs. Lagbaja, but you are my daughter. This whole thing that is coming to my attention that the police have found out, is it true? How could you have done that? So if you listen to that voice note, because they are saying that the GO threatening somebody, the person is hiding and everything. How could that be a threat that you called somebody who you believe so much that no, what they said about her to you could not be true, and you want her to actually confirm or otherwise, and you might deny it? Because you said that you heard the GO say in that voice note, in that call, that but you can assess me. You probably will have the best to this for you to have come to me to that, but daddy and compare this one is not properly done, and I will have made amends rather than for you to go and start joining. And you heard that woman say, no, it's not possible. She couldn't have said those things. Her phone was hacked. And how can somebody say that GO threatening? That for the Joe to say yes, but they found this thing and they found your name, and now the police are trying to establish, everybody involved, whether they are true. So if the police should invite you, what do you have to say now? He was saying those things out of concern, because that is a fact before the police. So in a normal setting, in the course of investigation, a crime has been committed, and investigating in the another crime is being committed, the police will invite everybody, and he's trying to call our attention. What if police invite you? What do you have to say now? You are saying it's not true. Like, you better prepare what you are saying. Say our phone is hacked. Okay, I know that. So how can somebody come to conclusion that the GO is using police to threaten people? And so when you want to say things out of context and you begin to want to bring the GO, Ayotunde Richard effectively has become a tool in the hand of those abroad bloggers, who is also employing some bloggers here to run the mission of MFM down at the GO. And it's not only MFM they want to run down, so many others, Pentecostal ministry. And then for Ayotunde Richard to have accepted to be an agent, a field agent, to supply this information and be paid handsomely, be rewarded for that, to now come and be playing the victim's card on social media is the most unfortunate. Because right now, you are to face, the criminal trial of the threat to the life of the son of Starkwe. Rather than for you to prepare yourself for that, you resorted into coming to social media again, a matter that is already before the court, and you are calling out the police, IG should arrest Olukoya. The petition before the police does not have Olukoya in it. If Olukoya is going to petition, I'll be the one to write the petition. So for us as a church, we have not even done anything. We are still just assessing the whole issue. The crime Ayotunde Richard has committed in this period of, you want to run to social media, you believe you can see anything. If I start enumerating them here, it's so scary. And unfortunately, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. And for the fact that the Jew has always been the type that doesn't like some of this media and noise and everything, it's not enough for people to want to believe that, if I run to media and call him out, he will withdraw, he will pull back. That's the strategy that they are trying to adopt. And so for those who've been disturbing me and asking questions and getting worried, those are the things that happen. Nothing but all I've just stated. And so when the time actually comes for us to take action, we will take action. So because a number of things have been said that we are just trying to look, because I don't model things together. Right now, one at a time. Ayotunde Richard is answering to the threats to the life of Starkwe's son. The complainant before the court is Starkwemi Manuel. The charge is all about threat to life. He's not before the police or before the court because anything against MFM. That does not mean that he has not done things from that revelation. But I said, for now, we are still assessing, we are still looking at what to be done. And those bloggers, the Sahara Reporter and the rest, who is being used now to defame the church and lie that is the Jew that is behind his arrest and everything, when the time comes to, they will need to establish that in court to verify that, and a failure of which they know what is in the cooler for them. So my style is not the type. I am doing this video because I never even when the wife came and was saying all of those things, people were showing me the train to me like, I don't have time for the woman can say whatever she likes. The fact is there is the truth before the police and the court. But for Ayotunde Richard to be this, I don't know to put it, bold and do this Instagram video overnight and even directly calling Olukoya, I really don't know. And so that's why we have to really, I think it's better for me to respond to those who are saying, is it the Joe? Number one, the Joe is not behind Ayotunde Richard arrest. He didn't author any petition. The Geo is not responsible for anything he's passing through at the moment. He threatened the life of Sister Akpe's son. Sister Akpe is the one that has got him arrested through the police. The police were investigating his phone. They found other incriminating things, which I've stated now. And they got me invited that as a leader to the church. What do I have to say to this? They want to reach out to you. And they said, the Geo is not in the country. Can I have all of these things and discuss with him? Then we'll get back to you. That is how I got those information. And that is how I relay them to the Geo. And the Geo, in trying to establish whether one of them in that conspiracy could have been part of the syndicate because of the closeness and how much he took that one as a daughter, made that call to the woman to establish. And then you can now find out that that woman was even recording that conversation and send it to Ashekun, which established that it's actually a syndicate thing, you know. So those are the things that happen. So there is no cause for the Joe. He doesn't have that time. But I'm telling you now, in my official capacity as a lawyer to MFM, that we will take action when the time comes. But for now, Aotundisha is still responding to his criminality of wanting the only child of a fellow gospel minister to die so that the woman can. Quite terrible. Apart from all the things he wishes that happened to the Gio, to Mommy Gio, and some other men of God, which are all before the police. So coming to social media to come and play the victim's card is because once the hands of the law, you know, catches up with him, so it will now look like, oh, I've said it too. I've said that they are using police against me. No, just like the way Lucifer felt that his talent is so big, he wants to be bigger than God, and he found his downfall, he's just walking towards that same route. And when it happens, who is he going to blame now? So that's why I've just made this video to respond to those who are disturbing you. You have nothing to worry about. When we will go to court, like when we went to court against Maureen, we did it and we stood by it. So I'm not the type that hide, and the Jew is not such a person. So thank you everyone for your listening. No cause for alarm. God bless you, and we'll wait for the Lord to take its course. Bye.
Now, one thing is very, very certain, and that's why I want to be very, very careful. Now, if you heard the amount of money that was mentioned that somebody was making or is making out of this case, and you want to be very, very careful, you don't want to stick your head into it. You don't want to stake your integrity into it. Now, listening to this, now it is very clear, except that, Richard and those ones would come out and say that what the lawyer stated are not true. There is a challenge that the lawyer threw, and that is where I will base my talk on, and I will leave you. Now, if you had followed the narration of the lawyer, you will discover that it wasn't the general overseer of MFM that called police for Richard. Richard had his own case with the people in his group in the church, and the general overseer was not even involved. Please, again, I'm not holding brief for him. If you are human, please, I hope you listen to the video. So I'm talking based on what is in the video. And that thing that is in the video, you can also investigate. Find out if the lawyer had lied. All right? And also find out if Richard had lied. So, nobody here is my friend in this case. But I'm just speaking based on what we have heard and the things we have heard. Now, so you saw how it went from having disagreement and misunderstanding with the people in his group, and let's be sincere, that kind of a thing is quite possible to happen. There is pride that goes with the rise of man. Now, if you want to know who a man is, give him power, give him fame, give him money, then you will get instantly the kind of a person he is. So from what I gathered from this video, the man was very close to the pastor of Mountain of Fire. So maybe that also could have played a part in him wanting to intimidate others who are above him in ranking. Of course, there is, in every organization, there is what we call hierarchy, and that must be respected. Now, that was where the problem started from, that resulted to him being suspended, not by the man, not by the GS of Mountain of Fire. And just like you as a person will always come to abuse me and attack me because I spoke about your pastor. Now, Richard went out, started speaking against the MFM pastor, and somebody else took it upon herself to defend the pastor. And it got to the point where it got to that threat was made on the life of her son, the only child that she has. And so it got to that point, and the woman wrote a petition. You heard it. Now, so based on that, and eventually other things came out that were gotten as evidence from the phone of the man. All right. Now, that's, why I believe that the things that the lawyer said was found in the phone of Richard. It's true. I will also show you what Richard said when the case was decided. So it is actually true that there were some things found in his phone which the police sent to the lawyer, and the lawyer sent to the general overseer of MFM. Now, probably that was where the case changed from the petition that was written against him, which he probably has apologized and was waiting to be released, to other allegations or things that were found in his phone. And so maybe other things followed and other actions followed. Now somebody may say, why should the man get involved with police? Now up until this point, according to the explanation of the lawyer, Olukoya has not gotten involved with the police. Maybe when the threat was made on his life was when he decided to get involved, to get police involved. But then eventually at the end of the day, they went to court and the court did this. Now the man himself, Richard, said this, and listen very well because you would hear him talk about the verdict that was given by the court.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ayotunde Richard. Some people have been sending some fake news to me that just my Lord Honorable Justice Olatokun of the State High Court Ikeja, of Lagos State High Court Ikeja, dismissed my lawsuit and Bawura's lawsuit against Daniel Olukoya, and my own lawsuit against Daniel Olukoya and Davidson Adejuwon. That is a big fat lie. What the judge said and what the ruling is the fact that Opeyemi Emmanuel wrote a petition, and on the strength of that petition, the police officers Ayoleyi, Tawoshe Ajayi and her team did not carry out any form of investigation before coming to arrest me at home, and the judge declared that as unlawful arrest. Also detaining me for 8 days, the judge in Alagbon cell police station, the judge declared that as unlawful detention. Therefore, monies were awarded to me, monies were awarded to Bawura, Wuluwuyeye, and they've been asked, the Nigerian Police Force and Ayoleyi have been asked to go and make a public apology, unreserved public apology, in a reputable national newspaper. But what the judge said concerning Daniel Olukoya and his lawyer Davidson Adejuwon is the fact that data from my phone were transferred to both of them, but because my wife brought the phones to the police station in order to dislodge the petition of Opeyemi Emmanuel, the judge felt that she gave them consent to go through my phone. And even if you went through my phone, is it justifiable for you to now transfer data from my phone to Davidson Adejuwon and Daniel Olukoya, who are just mere citizens in a country? Are they the commissioner of police or the inspector general of police? So those are the things we are challenging at the appellate court. They should stop spreading lies. The judge did not throw away my cases against them. The judge did not throw away Bawura's case against anybody. Yes, they said because my wife brought the phones, therefore she gave them. She did not. Okay, they collected our own phones too. They went through our own phones too under duress, as far as we know, and that is what we are going. Those are some of the things, apart from other things, that we are going to challenge at the appellate court. So please don't believe their lie. You, I'm reaching out to you from my hiding. Opeyemi Emmanuel, we'll see in court tomorrow by the special grace of God. Oh, do have yourself a wonderful and profitable day. My name still remains Ayotunde Richard. I'm coming out to sing for you very soon. I'm a big body, and not worry. It is well.
So at the end of it all, what I just want to say here is that there is a tendency that there is a pattern, and that pattern could be because suddenly, these three persons came out immediately, and as they're coming out, others are bringing up other things that are so dirty, to hear. The man being a pedophile, and that pedophilia, allegation was also contained in what was said to have been discovered in the man's phone, or something like that. So now the pattern here is like let us hit the system. You are hitting him from this side, I'm hitting him from this side, I'm hitting them from this side. Whether it's true or not, let us see how far they can go. Now, the thing is this, the truth is this. When you listen to at least somebody like this, Richard, you see that there is kind of bitterness and malice from the inside. And I have noticed this of persons who are leaving a particular church, maybe to join another church or to start another ministry of their own. More than 75% of them come out with bitterness. They come out with negative stories, be it the Lord's Chosen, be it Deeper Life, be it the Redeemed Christian Church of God, be it Mountain of Fire, be it Christ Embassy. People who are coming out, they are coming out with some kind of stories that the public will hear and will arouse public sympathy, right? Now, Femi said that he was shot in the leg and actually he showed the wound. Now, but the thing is this: if it is not true, because he has denied it that it's not true, and we cannot say it's true because he has said it's not true, but there are men of OPC who came out also to witness against him that they were approached and were given the sketch that the other man said he was just asked by the police to draw that, and he was trying to say that the police used that to implicate him when he now refused to implicate Pastor Femi. Now, the OPC people testified that he came to them actually with the job offer and description, and with the promise of how humongous their life would have changed if they succeeded in robbing the church. And so they decided to play along with him after they have reviewed this thing to the appropriate authorities, and so they were giving body cam. Now the question is, do MFM have that video, the body cam? Because probably in the body cam, the conversations were recorded and things happening around was recorded, were taken down in the tape, maybe in form of video or in the form of audio. The lawyer had given a challenge to both Femi and the rest of them that if they are sure that what they are saying is true, since they have decided to put it out there, now they should come to an open debate where the truth will be established and then who is lying would be established. And this is where I base it. Now, it is quite unfortunate because the church is not supposed to be embroiled in this kind of thing. I wish that there is, a different way that this would be trashed. And the only problem is that, if the church now becomes soft and say, okay, forget about this. This was what happened. And though that the court has discharged and acquitted you according to what the lawyer said there, according to what the lawyer said, that because the prosecution could not prove his case beyond reasonable doubt, the guys were set free. They were set free and they were discharged and acquitted. So they were discharged and acquitted, meaning that they have not been charged, as thieves. But I'm coming with that tape. I'm coming with that video. First and foremost, listen to the challenge here.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Barrister Davis Nadejuan. I'm the Chief Legal Advisor to MFM Worldwide. Again, it's personal lawyer to Dr. Olukoya, the G of MFM. And I want to do a very quick, clarification and reaction to a video by one Pastor Femi Jimo, who alleged that he was detained for 9 years, frame up charges from MFM. But not really being a matter that went to court, came back, and they went to court again. I ordinarily wouldn't want to say anything, but I think it's important that I respond now, particularly looking at the way journalism in Nigeria has gone very, very below standard. So I'm saying this so that if there will be need for a qualified journalist, from a reputable and decent organization who is professional, they want to get involved, will be willing to sit side by side with Pastor Femi Jimo and provide, since he wants to do his trial now by media, having concluded the matter in court. 2 instances. So there was the criminal one, and there was the civil one, which he filed. So, but given brief response to all of those lies everywhere, Pastor Femi Jimo and others, I think 2 others, one Caleb Toba and others, they were plotting how to rob Mountain of Fire Miracle Ministry offering. I think one of the big events, first fruit offering or crossover offering, as the case may be, and in their plan and plotting, there is nobody who would think, number one, he has been in the ministry with some questionable issues where he was posted and he was disciplined by being transferred back to the headquarters, and so he works, I think, along the others as a traffic usher, and what have you. So being traffic usher, they understand the route and they know the movement of the ushers, handling the offering of the church. And for whatever reason, that plan was being put together. Okay, so how did the intelligence got leaked? It was at the point they were actually going to hire a gun. And when the matter got to the jury, he was surprised, like, how, who? And when they mentioned their name, like, how is it possible? Again, did you have to immediately alert the CSO as at that time, who, swung to action, invited some police to, brief them out. So they've actually drawn map, the routes, of how the offering, of the church normally move, and at what point they need to intercept. In fact, the gun that they needed to have the CSO, which normally lead, the escorts that move the offering, if there's going to be any form of obstruction, that's within the church, not, the escort in terms of the armed police escorts, so that they need to, gun him down. Those were the plan. The video was made in the subsequent meeting. So all of these are clearly available, and on the strength of that, they were arraigned before the court. Okay, fine. After, a protracted 8 years case, they were let loose. They were allowed to go because prosecution couldn't sustain conviction on technical ground. Because in our criminal jurisprudence, it is the principle that it is better for 99 criminal, 99 guilty, 99 offenders to go free, than to allow for one innocent person, to go to jail. And the reason is because, once a prosecution is not able to, do a tidy case to 100% beyond reasonable doubt convince a judge is not permitted to convict. So, but the moment there is just going to be so, and some of these things could be procedural, and it could be as a result of sleep and all of that. So technically, the witnesses, paraded by the prosecution have their testimony conflicting. Another principle of criminal jurisprudence, you cannot convict on conflicting testimony or witnesses. So that is not to say that they didn't carry out the action, they didn't plan it. That's not to say offense has not been committed, but they couldn't be convicted because of, lack of, tidy job on the side of the prosecuting team. So they were able to let go, which I think the prosecution, I think the DPP was even making an attempt to appeal at that point in time. Okay, so after the matter was ended in, the same Femi Jimo went to court. He went to court basically to sue for malicious prosecution and ask for, millions, I think 500 million naira, as damages and all of that, because he believed that for the fact that, he was not convicted from that prosecution, he should have, damages gotten. And evidences were put before the court. We have nothing to do with, we didn't frame him up. Those are the things that happened and the fact that there were no. And from the case, the industrial court judge, agree with MFM that MFM did not prosecute you maliciously. And they have nothing to do with why you are in detention for 8 years or thereabouts. So you cannot, so you fail to be able to secure any damages. However, because MFM did not, terminate your appointment for those number of 8 years, you can only succeed in getting what you are entitled to in terms of salary and allowance. And that is what the judge said we should calculate and give him. So that is how the case ended. And so for him to go out there and start saying that MFM lock him up, They will bring video, will bring the map, the drone, will bring all of these things, and then let Oluwafemi Jimoh come and speak to them. So what is he saying by going about and start talking about it was frame up? But I really wouldn't want to say too much, just to give context that he had an active plan, a plot which is criminal to rob MFM, in that year, the offering, and they plotted, they draw a map. The map drone was recovered from them. The recording of the meeting, is still available, and people think you can just go to social media and then just say things and believe that when you just tell all the story, let's quickly settle him and settle. So what if a good case has been done in terms of the testimony of the prosecution and it has been sentenced? Well, will he have come back to say that it was frame? It is what it is, but that's just a brief response I can give. That's much I can say on this, and we'll be expecting them to take up the challenge. Let them bring up a reputable journalist, and we'll do a conversation, a podcast kind of, where we'll confront him with all of these things, and he will speak face to face to them. Not these one-sided, stories they are doing with all these hungry journalists up and down. Thank you, everyone.
So the narrative now is that they have been challenged to come out because the lawyers claim that he has enough evidence to prove that he's saying the truth. This other camp are saying that they have enough evidence to prove that they are saying the truth. But who then is the one lying? I know that this video will also earn me criticism because it looks like I am neither here nor there. But I don't have to be on anybody's camp. What I said is that there is a challenge thrown by the lawyer. If you know that we are lying against you, come, let us prove with evidence the things that we know and the things that you have done. And mind you that there were some letters that were read. Though those letters might not be bordering on the stealing or robbery or an attempt to rob, it might have to do with fidelity and infidelity. And so he was pardoned again. And so that might have nothing to do as in pinning it to what you have. But then watch this video. I will be leaving you with it. Let's know what you think about the whole thing. At the end of the day, we should know that we are brethren in Christ Jesus. And like I said, no church without issues, no family that doesn't have problems. But I wish that the families that have problems should have a way to manage their problems, sort their things out, and everybody moves on. God bless you. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Abuse me or agree with me, fine and good, or put down your comments in the comment section. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, from me to you. Shalom.
Fẹ́mi Jimoh, ó mọ̀ mí dáadáa. Àwa sábẹ́ tẹ́jọ́ ẹ̀ ni àwa wò bọ̀. Ó wá sọ fún mi pé òun fẹ́ rí mi ọ̀rọ̀ wà o. Mo ní ó máa dúgbò mi náà, wá bá mi ládùúgbò tọrọ bá wà. Ọjọ́ kejì, ó wá mi wá sóko àgbọn. Orí bí ìjókòó àgbọn yẹn gan ló ti ó pè mí, mo jáde wá bá. Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀, kí ló ní ó sọ, ó ṣàní kí n jẹ́ ká lọ wà ní ibì kan tó kàn. Mo á gbé lọ sí Paragon yẹn la wà, àròtí àmùtí. Kí ni nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ gangan? Oníṣẹ́ bá yẹn sọ́fà ẹ̀ṣọ́ pè wá ni. Yóò tí yẹ ká méèkì ẹ̀ báyìí sí i. Ìgbà tọ́lọ́hún dẹ̀ tí ìṣọ̀nà àbáyọ, kí la fẹ́ ṣe fọ́lọ́hún? Sùúrù la máa ní, ó ní ọ̀nà àbáyọ ti wà. Kí lọ́nà àbáyọ yẹn? Ó ní MFM. Kí n ṣe Christian, Muslim ni mí. Ó ṣáà ní kí n má wọrí pé ṣé mo mọ̀ pé pásítọ̀ lòun bẹ̀. Ok, báwo la ṣe máa ṣe? Wá ní àmà ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn gidi gan ni. In fact, tó bá ti di beginning of February, náà máa lọ sí prayer city àti ibẹ̀ láti máa tẹ̀lé wọn wá sí ibi bíi tá a máa gba owó. Mo ní owó wo ní owó offering millions of naira, dollars ló máa wà níbẹ̀. In fact, ó ní check tó máa wà nú ẹ̀.
Ó ní ká má sọ pé àṣẹ o, tá a bá sọ pé àṣẹ ó léwu fáwọn àgọ́ because àmọ́ tó ti mú ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn lọ pé wọ́n bá a lórúkọ jẹ́ ní ọ̀dọ̀ Olúkọ̀yà.
Wọ́n á gbé mi, mo pe Akeem pé mo ti rí ọmọdé yìí, ó ní ká máa lọ sí Sùúrùlérè. A ṣe dé ọ̀dọ̀ bàbá ìyàwó nìyẹn. Bàtà dọ́dọ̀ bàbá béèrè lọ́wọ́ mi, ó ní ọmọ olúwo lèmi.
ọlọ́mọ Ìjẹ̀bú-Òde ó béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn tó kù mí ọlọ́mọ ìlú wo ni wọ́n sọ ìlú tó ti wá wọ́n á ní ọ̀rọ̀ ńlá lẹ́dẹ̀ wá sọ yìí bàbá yẹn wá ń sọ fún mi lọ́jọ́ yẹn pé ó ní bí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ṣe ń ṣe nìyẹn bí ṣùgbọ́n Ọlọ́run mú wọn bàbá yẹn wá ní pé ká padà wá ìjọ kejì bàtà wá padà lọ bàbá yẹn wá fún wa ní rìkánkọ́dà yẹn àwa fi sára ó sì di pé a bẹ̀rẹ̀ process ìrìn àjò yẹn nìyẹn tó di pé adọ́dọ̀ wọn ọlọ́pàá tó ọlọ́pàá náà sọ pé ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ ká máa ṣiṣẹ́ wa lọ kó tó di pé a kó pásítọ̀ Fẹ́mi àti Ẹ̀rì àti Caleb kó tó di pé a kó gbogbo wọn lọ sí police station.
They noted that MFM is a responsible church that takes the welfare, safety, and security of all its members serious, and as such, a case of this nature, which could have led to the death of one of its members, is not one that can be treated and handled internally by the church without reporting to the law enforcement agency for necessary investigation.